Have you ever wanted to go so deep in League of Legends, to sink so low into the depths of despair, the depths of Iron 4, without getting banned? Well, stick around. This is the video for you. This video is going to be a two-parter. The first part will be about getting into Iron 4 without getting banned by intentional feeding detection or any other of Riot's systems. The other part will be about League of Legends tutorial and how terrible it is for new players just joining the league. I hope that you guys find this tutorial helpful, and I hope that Riot Games sees this video and fixes their dogshit tutorial. Let's jump right in. Step 1. Your account. I assume that most people who have clicked on this video already have experience in League of Legends and probably already have their own account, or multiple. This de-ranking process is going to require that you have an account in Bronze 1 or lower. Anything above Silver 4, and it's going to be very hard to de-rank. There are two ways to go about getting a de-ranking account. The first would be to start a fresh account from level 1 to 30 and hand leveling it. The second would be to buy a black market account from a Smurf seller. I don't recommend this, as the MMR on those accounts are usually silver or above, which would make it much harder to get into Iron. Personally, the method that I would recommend is creating a brand new account and hand leveling it from level 1 to 30. If you already have a ranked account in Bronze 1 or under, I'm going to put a timestamp on this screen for you to skip to. Here's what you're gonna do. After completing all 3 tutorials, jump straight into a blind pick game. Pick Misfortune and don't change your summoner spells. Just leave everything default like you don't know what you're doing. You're gonna wanna head top lane no matter what anybody else calls. Remember, this is blind pick. There is no defined roles. Keep it in mind that you cannot be banned for not calling a lane in blind pick. This will annoy your teammates and will probably cause a surrender vote. You're gonna wanna lose as many games as you possibly can, whilst getting the least amount of kills and the most amount of deaths without intentionally feeding. Now, ironically enough, you're gonna wanna follow Riot's official League of Legends tutorial. All they teach you in that tutorial is how to right-click minions, hit towers, and buy items. Run into the middle of the lane and start auto-attacking minions. Don't worry about your enemy laner, just hit the minions. If the enemy laner hits you, attack back, but don't do too much damage. Walk away from the fight. Continue to do this over and over until eventually the enemy will whittle you down and kill you. Continue to do this over and over throughout the game, making sure that you don't run under the enemy tower. If you run under the enemy tower, there's a chance that you'll be picked up by intentional feeding detection. After your first death, keep running back to top lane no matter what. Never stop going top lane. Do not go middle lane, do not go bottom lane. Do not switch lanes at all. Keep pushing top over and over and over. The amount of deaths you should have is around 8, and by this time, the enemy top laner is probably very strong and get 1v9 the game. Your team will probably put up a surrender vote. Always vote yes immediately. You're gonna wanna make the games go for as short as possible for maximum XP gain. Make sure you do this every single game. It will take about 170 games for you to get enough XP for level 30, and in the meantime, your MMR shall be plummeting into the abyss. I also would not recommend doing this process on your main account, as there's no telling whether or not you will be punished. But it's most likely that you will not be punished for doing these strategies. Now, we're going to be moving on to the second step, which is Step 2, feeding like a new player. Now, you should have a level 30 account, either already in Bronze 1 or under, or unranked, ready to play ranked. Queue up for a ranked game, with your roles set as top and mid. These are the 2 most important roles in the game, aside from jungle. Now, here's the method that I use. It involves Riot's dog shit League of Legends tutorial that teaches you nothing about the game. You're going to want to pretend to be a new player that just hit level 30 after playing blind pick games. All you know is how to play Misfortune. Your runes are default. Your summoner spells are default, ghost, and a heal. You've never played any character other than Misfortune. When you get into Champion Select, select Misfortune and take Ghost and Heal. You will either be top or mid. If you're auto-filled, don't worry about it. Just select Misfortune. You cannot be banned for off-meta picks in League of Legends, and this is a prime example of it. Take the default runes from the rune recommender, and don't listen to anything your teammates say in the pre-game chat. Some may dodge, but that's okay. It's all a part of the process. Once you get in game, mute everybody. This is what the chat is set to by default in League of Legends. Next, you'll want to head to your lane and stand right in the middle of the lane. This is when you can do whatever you want. Hold tab, sit there and watch. Just sit in the middle of the lane. When the minion wave comes, just auto-attack the minions. The enemy laner will hit you. You can hit them back, but don't do as much damage as they did to you. You're gonna want to let the enemy laner whittle you down until they finally kill you in the middle of the lane. Feel free to pop both summoner spells to try and escape here, so you don't have them for later. Keep running back top lane, over and over, doing the same thing, letting them slowly whittle you down until they eventually kill you. This is how you can get around Riot Games' intentional feeding detection, if you just constantly keep attacking minions and attacking them. Also, don't forget to hit the tower every now and then. Getting damage onto structures will make it so that you cannot be banned for intentionally feeding. Now, after your first 4 or so deaths, that should have tilted your teammates to the point where they probably want to surrender. If not, just keep repeating the same thing over and over. Eventually, the enemy will become so strong that they become unkillable and your team can't do anything about it. Or your team will surrender first. Do this every single game. In the eyes of Riot Games, you're just a new player who is very, very bad. Now, this next part is going to require a lot of patience, for it's very time-consuming and tedious. Step 3. Demoting an LP loss. As most of you know, there is 100 LP per division in League of Legends. To demote out of a division, you have to go down to 0 LP and then lose another game, potentially more if your MMR is high. Here is my method on how to maximize LP loss. Dodging games every day is a good way to maximize LP loss. You can potentially lose up to 45 LP every 24 hours just by dodging. You lose 5 LP on your first dodge and get a 6-minute cooldown. Your second dodge will be 30 minutes and 15 LP. Your third will be 15 LP and 12 hours. Although, I would not recommend dodging 3 times unless you do not plan to play that day and just want to lose LP. The method that I recommend is once you demote from a division, you will be left on 75 LP. Dodge twice after being demoted. This will leave you on 55 LP. Thus, you will not be able to rank back up if you accidentally win a game. Once your cooldown is over from dodging the first 2 games, queue up again and use the new player method I told you before. Do this over and over until you hit 0 LP and keep going until you demote. This is a good way to go down in the ranks without trolling games. If you win a game, don't worry, just keep going. You'll lose more than you win. This next section will be about the League of Legends tutorial and how terrible it is at teaching new players how to play the game. Let's do a little hypothetical, shall we? Let's say you're a new player to League of Legends in 2023. You're also deaf and you've never played this game before. You have no friends to teach you and you don't watch YouTube videos to teach you either. What do you know from this League of Legends tutorial? The answer? All you know how to do is click on minions, click on towers, click the inhibitor, buy items, and end the game. And that's only if you're a good observer. This game doesn't even have subtitles for hearing impaired players. So hypothetically, if you were a new deaf player, you would have no idea what the fuck is going on, because you cannot hear the instructions from the audio teaching you how to play the game. And that's just an accessibility problem. The game also does not teach you how to support map control, vision, warding. They don't teach you about jungle, what the camps do, Baron, Dragon, red buff, blue buff. They teach you none of it. So how would Riot Games expect you to learn how to play League of Legends? External tutorials, through friends, other means than the actual game itself. It's an absolutely terrible model for new players. They will learn nothing from this tutorial and they will just int every single game because that's how you taught them to play Riot. And that's how you derank to Iron 4. What's that? You don't have any friends to teach you how to play the game? That's okay. Watch YouTube tutorials. What's that? You don't want to watch YouTube tutorials to learn how to play the game that it should be teaching you how to play anyway? Well, that's fine. Ask people in chat how to play. What's that? Chat is disabled by default when you start a new account. What the fuck are you doing, Riot Games? We need a new tutorial in the game, a more advanced one, more in-depth. Teaches you how to jungle, what Smite does, summoner spells, runes, items, what champions do, how to do Baron, how to do Dragon, how to do Rift Herald, how to correctly play the game that isn't last hit minions and die. Oh, wait, what was that? The lead game designer at League of Legends, Greg Street, was talking about how they don't want to shift resources to features mostly aimed at new players when they could be adding or improving features for existing players. That's pathetic. Existing players are more important than new players. You wonder why there's so many people feeding in games, because this is how Riot Games want them to play. Not knowing anything. Chat disabled by default so you can't even ask teammates. Not that the teammates would say anything anyway, because they're all toxic smurfs. So, all of my Iron enthusiasts, play how Riot Games wants you to play. Misfortune top or mid with Ghost and Heal. Default runes. Not knowing what the jungle is. Not knowing what objectives are. Not knowing what a ward is. Just simply running into the enemy and trying to kill them. Anyway, that about does it for this video. I hope you find it helpful and have learned a few things, and Riot Games, fix your fucking game. Thank you for watching.
Fun, trolling, inting. Iron King, the King of Iron 4, did this and everything else the game had to offer, and his dying words drove countless souls to Iron.
You want my tutorial? You can have it. I left everything I learned how to D-rank with on YouTube. Now you just have to find it.
These words lured the generous to the Iron Line in pursuit of Elo greater than ever dared to imagine. This is the time known as the Great Iron Era.